Western Pizza Guest Hotline will find Dustin Forbes, voice of the Lethbridge Hurricanes, who are now, yes, out of the playoffs, but he's a WHL guy. And Forbesy, what are you making so far of this series? Because after game one, I think most people would have been like, oh, Medicine Hat, it's a walk, it's over. And then Spokane, Chikai, game two, they look like the more skilled team. What are you making of it?
Well, first I got to talk about Stewie Skinner, and you can't shout out the Swift Current Broncos. He played almost his entire career as a Lethbridge Hurricane. So let's go easy. He won in Swift, but he was a Hurricane all-time wins leader, all-time games played leader by a goaltender in Hurricanes history. So I got to get that in there, and happy to see him bounce back as a guy that obviously has a relationship and was around him for a long time. So cheering for him. As far as the league that you want to talk about goes, the Western Hockey League final, you're right. I think it was expected Medicine Hat to come out really well in game one in front of that crowd. They've been pent up for a long run, obviously chasing the Ed Chanel's Cup that I'm sitting behind right now in the Hurricanes dressing room here. And they haven't won or played for it since 2007. So that's a group that was eager to go. Of course, they swept the Hurricanes in 4 games in the East final, so they had a lot of time. Spokane answered back, and I think if you ask me the question of, is there a team that can beat Medicine Hat, I'm not sure there is, but if there is, Spokane is the team that can do it, just because they've got the firepower to be able to run and gun and play the style that the Tigers want to play. And we saw that in game 2 with the Chiefs kind of dictating the pace of play, and were able to capitalize and score and get the split, heading back to Spokane for 3 straight.
Will home ice be a factor? I've never been into the Spokane arena. Will that be a factor tonight?
I think so. Spokane's got such a great facility, and they do such a marvelous job there. I think they've won the Business of the Year award because of it. I know we've played the last 2 times Lethbridge was in Spokane. The previous time was their teddy bear toss game, and it was unbelievable. And this past year we were there, and it was Military Appreciation Night, and it was off the charts awesome. And those are just regular season games. Unfortunately, we only get to go down every other year, but those are the last 2 times that we've been to the Spokane arena, and it's been unbelievable. So I suspect that tonight you're going to see very much like what you saw in Medicine Hat for games 1 and 2, a loud, boisterous crowd. And the one thing that I always love about going to the States, and people always ask, well, where do you like to call games in? And I always go to the States first, because they're not the armchair GMs like we have in Canada. They don't necessarily understand the game as well as we do on the broad scope. Obviously, you have fans that do. They're there for a good time, and they enjoy it, and they're loud and they're boisterous in the regular season. I suspect it'll be the same tonight in Game 3.
I thought you were going to say I love going down to call games in the United States because you bring back cheap tobacco. It's not so much the thing anymore. Hey, were you surprised that both Caden Lindstrom and Andrew Basha were back in the lineup for the Tigers?
I wasn't surprised that they were in the lineup. I was maybe a little bit surprised that they had such an immediate impact. And by immediate, I mean 54 seconds into game 1, Andrew Basha scores. And he hadn't played a game since December for the Tigers. And you come back from a severe injury like he has. And same thing with Caden Lindstrom, maybe even a more severe injury. You're talking about a bad back and having to recover and recuperate and rehab that, having an impact like they did, and then Lindstrom scoring in game 2. I think it's good for the Tigers. I think obviously you're happy for those players to be able to get back and play. And you talk to hockey people, and when you get into a playoffs, everybody is banged up and hurt and ailing, and the common theme is, well, let's just extend it as far as we can. Keep extending it, and eventually guys might come back. And credit the Tigers, they were able to do that, and they get 2 pretty elite players back into the lineup, and they've had an impact in the first 2 games.
We interviewed Sam Aremba from Regina, And then I'm interviewing him, and I'm saying, well, you guys get to take the plane empty, and then you guys will play, and then both teams go back on the plane, which is super weird, but I love it when it comes to the WHL final. And he goes, we just found out that we got to take the bus. And I'm like, come on. Do you know the rule? Because I'm looking up MapQuest here, old school, shout out. It says 8 hours and 8 hours and 36 minutes, 771 kilometers between Medicine Hat and Spokane. Do you know the rule? Because if Lethbridge would have advanced, right? Like, it's under 10 hours that you have to iron lung it?
Yeah, I think it's 10 hours. So had we beat Medicine Hat, we would have played Spokane. Presumably, we would have bussed. If it had have been Portland, of course, we would have flown. Likewise, if Portland had to beat Spokane, Medicine Hat would have flown. But I think the benchmark is 9 or 10 hours that you have to bus. And to fly, I think, and I could stand to be corrected, but I think it's agreed upon by both hockey clubs. As well. So I know if you go back to 2018, we lost in the conference final to Stuart Skinner and the Swift Current Broncos after trading him to Swift Current earlier that year. And had we advanced, it would have been either Tri-City or Everett. It turned out to be Everett, but had it been Tri-City, we would have bussed for that series as well. So, all the hoopla about, hey, you get to the final and you don't have to ride the bus anymore, and then you get there and it's a kick in the gut when you find out you got a bus. But they've done it all year; they'll be used to it by now. So
what a rip! No, but hey, the thing is it just seems though. Here we go again. The Western Hockey League is such a grind to win, and then you go to the Memorial Cup, and they just seem gassed. So it's like, fly them. Give them any leg up when it comes to playing. Some of these Ontario teams literally have to drive across town. I don't know who's totally in the final. I don't know the distance. MapQuest will tell me in a bit. But that's how it's been in the past, where it's like these guys can carpool. They could take a city transit. But yet in the Western Hockey League, we got upwards of 10 hours of making kids ride a bus with a sleeping bag and a pillow.
My only rebuttal would be that for Medicine Hat to get to Calgary, because you would probably have to fly out of Calgary, is about 3 hours.
No,
so you're
I
almost halfway to Spokane.
You could drop that bird in the Medicine Hat. You could drop that bird in the Medicine Hat airport.
I don't know if they would. I don't know. And hey, I'm not from Medicine Hat, so I don't know if the airport is big enough. I've driven by it 1,000 times. It doesn't look like it's very big. But I know when Swift...
There's a speed trap there. Oh.
Yes, there is. It's like the speed trap just west of Moose Jaw. Gets you every time. But when Swift played Everett in the final, they had to fly out of Regina. And of course, Swift is different than Medicine Hat. But what my point is to get to Calgary, if it was to fly out of Calgary, that's 3 hours. You're almost, 40% of the way to Spokane. Then you got to sit at the airport. So by the time you actually factor in travel to Calgary, waiting and boarding a plane, can you fly right into Spokane? Probably. I'm not sure. I'm not an aviation expert, so I'm not 100% sure on that front. But you're probably looking about the same amount of travel time in the day versus busing, which is a grind, but they're used to it.
I'm doing some research here. No, you can fly a 737 into the Medicine Hat Airport. There's a picture. I did this. I love aviation. So I just, kids.
It's probably an AI picture. No, I'm just kidding.
Forbesy, it's always a pleasure to do this with you. Let's see how the series goes. Maybe we'll do it again. I know your eyeballs are on it. And you know what's like Spokane. They don't seem deep, but they are. And I'm looking forward to watching this one tonight.
They got the horses to be able to run with McKenna and Weisblatt and Catton and Crystal, and it's been fun to watch. The pace of the game has been unbelievable, and It's been pretty special to see what both teams have done. And one of the things that I'll be watching, man, is Andrew Crystal goes in 2 goals shy of Ron Sutter's WHL record for most goals in a single playoff with 22.
Wow.
Crystal has 20. So that'll
Right
be fun
on.
to watch. Presumably, he'll break that in this series.
Good tidbit. All right, Forbesy, have a good night, buddy.
Take care, boys.